They said our employer will be good to us. Our job will be easy. We will be working as waitresses in a restaurant.
I'm doing this because I want to help my family.
Many believe that the fulfillment of their dreams can easily be found in Manila or in other countries. One of those who were enticed to try their luck here in the city was Anna.
A lot of people from our town went to Manila. They said I can also find a decent job and I can send money to my family. They said I would be working in a shoe factory where I will earn as much as 6,000 pesos.
But what started as a dream turned out to be a nightmare for Anna. Instead of working in a factory, she was brought to a brothel.
We did not know that we will be working as prostitutes. We wanted to escape, but we had nowhere to go and we had no money to.
Anna is not alone. Like her, thousands of people were forced to leave their homes in search of a better life.
From our observation, most of the trafficked victims are minors and women, and they are getting younger and younger every year.
According to Republic Act 9208, trafficking is a crime that refers to the recruitment, transportation, transfer, or harboring or receipt of persons, with or without the victim's consent or knowledge, within or across national borders, especially if the victim will be entered into prostitution or any form of exploitation, such as forced labor, slavery, or forced servitude, as payment for an outstanding debt.
Many Filipinos hope to live a better life, but most of these people are lured not only because of poverty, but also because of the tempting promises they were led to believe.
Using fake or provisionary contracts and showing expired licenses or business permits to persuade the victims' parents to let their children work. Forcing the victims to falsify their names and ages. Prohibiting victims from talking to other passengers while traveling. Anna already gave birth. Although fearful and full of uncertainties, only one thing is clear for Anna.
I want to finish my studies.
May their stories be an inspiration and lesson to everyone. For more information...
President Arroyo was perceived to be the most corrupt president in Philippine history. Not yet unedited reports a palace ally at the Senate now wants an inquiry into the corruption survey.
When are they going to stop?
And then there's criticism.
You know, out of 1,200 people, or out of 84 million people, Filipinos, only 1,200 have been surveyed. And that leads to the possibility of skewed results.
The villagers took me on a 15-minute hike down the mountain to a small spring. This was their water.
This is where everybody from the village gets water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everybody has to come down.
Yes.
In the morning to get water. Yeah.
We collected samples for testing and found E. coli and other types of bacteria. Definitely not suitable for cooking or drinking.
They got all the plastic out at the dump site and they're drying it. They've got it all out of from the dump back behind me. Then they take the plastic and sell it.
Yes, they will sell it.
Probably to Walmart. It's probably your Walmart bags, people.
After showing people the poor water conditions, Mission Love Seeds was able to get funding to install 2 300-gallon water tanks in the village.
2 days? 2 days they put this in from the top of the hill down to the village.
The government ordered wardens to separate children from adult inmates, but this tiny cell is the only alternative here. I felt like I was feeding caged animals. Told me they're allowed out of this cell to exercise for just 1 hour a week. Cameraman Tony is armed with a hidden camera, and it's by using this we hope to reveal what it is the authorities are trying to hide. Still posing as charity workers, we now risk certain arrest, breaching the security designed to hide child prisoners from the outside world. The number of young hands reaching out for help was overwhelming. Girls are rarely found in prisons. They tend to turn to prostitution rather than petty crime. we discovered children sharing a cell with 2 sexual offenders. They told us they had a special relationship with the boys.
To the children? Sometimes. Sometimes, yeah. I see. Also the children, yeah, my friends. Oh, I see.
Absolutely nothing has been done to keep the adult inmates away from the children. The government have made empty promises before. A decade ago, they offered child prisoners a lifeline, the Juvenile Justice Bill. If made law, up to 4,000 children would be released, sentenced to rehabilitation rather than punishment. But it never materialised. While the political wrangling continues, so will the imprisonment of children and the efforts to hide them from the outside world. He told me a male prisoner tried to abuse him.
I think he had a knife. I could feel it digging in my ribs. When I refused, he made me pick up poo that was in the bucket. Then he said, "If you don't let me have you, I will kill you."
The families say the women have been caught up in an undeclared war against those on the wrong side of politics. Since 2001, hundreds of members of farmers' organisations, trade unionists and leftist activists have been killed or have disappeared.
How do they terrorize a populace of about 5,000 in a barangay? They get one, kill that in the basketball court in front of so many people, and the entire barangay is already terrorized.
Since the current government came to power, hundreds of people working to mobilise the poor have been murdered or suddenly disappeared. Across the country, the military is trying to win the hearts and minds of the people. Colonel Kakalala says the program is working in this village, which was once home to more than 1,000 supporters of the NPA.
Oh, galing to school, oh. Spell cat. C-A-T. Good boy.
I hate the military as I hate the government. Because they are not really giving this security.
Tumulong ka, anak pawis. Huwag alintanain ang sugat sa dibdib. Wala nang ibang makalulunas, kundi ikaw sa iyong mga palad. That's it.